Hello, my name is Max. My work this term is concerned with how important information is generated. To further this goal, I have set forth to interview 10 students and faculty at Portland State, 5 of which I have completed as of now. My field site, if one could call it that, has been study room 4 in the library, oddly enough. I chose this space as it was well suited for my specific purpose of just kind of sitting down with someone in a quiet setting. For the purpose of this study, I have been particularly interested in the context in which individuals consider one detail over another in a summary. So, the primary goal of this study is to essentially create a model for how summaries of large texts can be created. From what I can ascertain of the thought process behind the summaries I create with my participants and their interviews associated with that process. So, with this lofty goal in mind, I began to consider possible interview methods from the course and how I rather feel as though I've been able to apply what I've learned, but to limited success given the small number of individuals I've interviewed. Now, my background is in kind of software development, Python, C, C++, etc. I have been, for a long time now, consistently hung up on the idea of developing this tool of kind of creating summaries of large documents, because it had me thinking of like these bills passed by Congress that are 1,000 pages, huge, massive, dense texts that don't get read in time by lawmakers. The problem there, of course, is that laws are passed that are not fully understood, which presents a clear and obvious problem to any democratic society, including our own. My theoretical approach to this work has come from a book called Linguistic Anthropology by Dr. Alessandro Duranti. In it, specifically on page 165, he has a section on meaning as relations among signs, specifically, words as they are signs. I proceeded in my interviews under the premise that words, as they are aligned in sentences, form the basis of ideas which can then be organized thematically into a coherent whole. This line of thinking has formed the core of what I have done this term. For the purpose of collecting summary and speech samples for further analyzation, as I have noted, I conducted 5 semi-structured interviews wherein I ask a participant to read a text, in my case, the Town Hose story from Moby Dick by Herman Melville. I chose this text for the same reason I chose my field site. The rather closed, kind of quiet nature of it, the length and the style in which it's written create complexities in generating a coherent summary of the whole text, which I found to be of particular interest. One important consideration of mine throughout this entire process has been the informed consent of my participants. To this end, I obtained a template consent form from the website of the Human Research Protection Program and adapted it for my use, essentially. In practice, I had no issues explaining my project to participants as well as outlining their rights as participants in my study. Broadly, I have included no names in my writing thus far, and I feel as though it is unneeded for this to be included as part of my project at this stage. Currently, as I continue to interview new participants and considering that I am not done, per se, I have found it rather difficult to interpret what I have uncovered. It has become something of an ongoing process, examining nearly 6 hours of audio generated by this project thus far. As far as patterns go, I have found that literature, and in particular the story that I chose, is a non ideal model for summary. While it is detail rich, the details one might find interesting or recurrent in a story do not always form part of a summative whole of useful or otherwise interesting information. Overall, this study has highlighted my interest in language, particularly in the conveyance of meaning, a subject which I will continue to investigate. Well, thank you. If you have any questions, please let me know, and feel free to reach out if you would like to participate in my study. All right, that's it. Thank you.